just come in with, oh gosh, just
don't do that. That's like the worst thing you could possibly do.
I'm hoping it can only go up from here.
Either frolicking in the fields or you're crying in the fields. So
there's so many things that I didn't get to do that I thought I would.
I somehow find myself in a situation that's worse.
This last year really made me question these last year and a half. Are you planning on re-enlisting? Was it worth the 6 years and process to join? Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, DomingaShataun. If you are new, my name is Dominga, and if you are returning, what is up? Hello, today I'm doing an interview with my guest, Gangbin.
What's up?
And I'll have you introduce yourself and everything so that way I can get this up. So just let them know who you are and yeah, some kind of icebreaker or something.
All right, what's up? My name is Devin, or Gangbin, whatever one you want to call me. I already messed up what I said. But I actually joined at the same time as Harris. We've been in for about 2 years. We went to the same B&T tech school, and then we somehow ended up at the same duty station as well. So we've been sort of following each other around for quite a while, and now here we are.
Yeah. Yep. That's kind of crazy. I don't know if that many people. We went to the same basic training, same tech school, and we're at the same base here. Right. Together. How you liking that 2-year anniversary being in the military at this base?
It's an experience. I feel like where I'm at as far as mentally, I wouldn't be there without the military because I really wasn't doing anything before the military. But as far as things could be better, things could 100% be better. It's just a challenge, you know. It's 2 years. It doesn't seem like a lot, but then when you really look back at it, you're like, holy crap, I did 2 years.
Tell them. So you guys, you should, if you're not new, you should know my story. If you're new, you know I tried 6 years to get in the military. I was working on my weight. I was working on a misdiagnosis that MEPS gave me. It took 6 years to finally to enlist. That's kind of my story. I tracked it all on YouTube, videos and everything. What is your story?
Mine's actually kind of similar, except for the whole misdiagnosis thing. Mine didn't, my path didn't take 6 years. Mine only took 2 years. I did have to lose a lot of weight as well. We did a lot of the same things as far as dieting. So when we found out, I think we found out about that from each other in tech school, right?
Yeah.
That we lost a whole bunch of weight just to join. And then here we are. So yeah, I did the same thing. I originally went into the DEP, I think around November 2019. I was supposed to actually ship out in April. It was going to be an Intel job, but then COVID really started to ramp up and everything started to shut down. So I was in DEP for a good year and a half, and then I ended up shipping out in March 2021.
I didn't know you were in DEP for more than a year.
Yeah, I was nervous about it. I actually started searching up schools and just a different plan B, because I think I Googled how long you could be in DEP, and it's they said a year, 365 days.
I thought it was a year, and then you have to reapply,
something like that,
or redo your security stuff.
Right. It was just crazy, because I was seeing people come in and then leave before me, and every single time we do our DEP meetings, I think it was one Wednesday every month or something like that. It sort of went away during COVID and all that.
Yeah, COVID, they didn't have any.
I didn't recognize anybody in my DEP, and I was just that age-old veteran, just I'm here forever. When are they gonna take me?
Except for Veray, right? Was she in with you the whole time?
Yeah, so she was with me. I think she joined a little bit later.
Okay, and she's how we met, and then she was in my flight, right. And that's who introduced me to you.
Yeah, and I think we first met when we did the student leader meetings that were all the squadron, right?
Yeah,
all the squadron student leaders come in. So dorm chiefs and element leaders.
Were you the dorm chief or were you element leader?
No, I was an element leader.
Okay. I thought you were dorm chief for a minute, because I know I was dorm chief, and I don't remember who the other dorm chiefs were, but yeah, element leaders went in there too.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so 2 years at the base. I usually don't tell people what base I'm at, just for safety reasons.
As you should. It already sucks enough here. You don't need safety issues. Hey, that could get you out of the dorms though.
Listen. Ooh. Then they're gonna be like, no, then they really can get you, because really nobody can get you on base unless they're military. Well,
why do you think they just added all the new cameras?
I know.
And the brighter lights too.
They're gonna see me carrying that from that dorm over there.
Exactly.
So 2-year anniversary, being in the military. You've been in for a whole 2 years.
That's right.
What does it feel like? What is your thought process like really sitting in? I've been in the military for 2 years now. It took you however long you've been in or however long to get in. Like, what is your thought process now?
A lot of people join the military to get out of like situations that they're in. So of course, like I just wanted to sort of start a sort of career path, because my biggest eye opener was probably working at Walmart. I lasted like a month and then I just stopped showing up. Like people were there for years and just like, yep, this is life. I got 3 kids working at Walmart, stocking shelves. Not saying there's anything wrong with working at Walmart, but it just really wasn't for me. I just needed a path. I was in and out of college, and that is community college. I wasn't really smart enough to get into the big cool colleges and all that stuff, but I joined. I started off thinking like, okay, I'm gonna give this a chance and see how long I'm gonna go for.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I might want to do like the full 20 years, maybe not. You'll run into some people that really generally want to stay in for a long time. But I think where I'm at currently after 2 years is I sort of just want to, I might extend a little bit just to get back to where I want to go. But it's more of just like let me just handle my business while I got the military paying for it. And then I'm probably gonna dip out at some point. I feel like there's a lot more on the outside than there is on the inside.
Yeah. I have a lot of questions that people ask me on my Instagram, my YouTube, like everything, some questions. And that was a big one, was like, what are your plans now? Like, now that you've been in for 2 years, what are your plans? Are you going to stay in? So we'll definitely get to there. Pushing back on the community college. I went to community college. It was great. I worked there. And that's like how to me, just because I worked there too, y'all can go to community college and you don't have to pay money. I think I spent maybe $400 the whole time I was there because of financial aid. Which, same for military. Like, you want to go for school? Do it. Okay. Anything before I get into these questions? Because these will help. Okay. So first one, these are questions you guys had for me, but a lot of them are going to be easy, and some of them, yeah. So Mama Fitbit asked, how are you coming along with the goals of what you wanted to accomplish in the Air Force? So you will be further ahead when you get out, ? Education, traveling, saving, civilian career, post-military. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how are you coming along with the goals you wanted to accomplish in the Air Force? I wanted to buy a house. I think you did too, right? The reasons why. It's to buy a house. And then we got here, and those plans were kind of foiled. Like, that was one of my big things. Like, I'm gonna get in, I'll probably just do the 4 years, buy a house, and then that's how I start my like financing and finances. You?
It was sort of the same thing. Like, I did want to buy my own place and like an actual house, because I was living on my own before for a little bit. I think I just actually found my roommates on Craigslist. It might have been Mama Fitbit. You don't really know. Shout out to our sponsors, Fitbit.
Right.
But yeah, it was the same thing. But a lot of bases do this thing where when you join an enlisted, you have to be, I think, a 3-year senior airman before they let you out of the dorms. That isn't for everything. I did know some people that were from Langley, and they're constantly getting airmen in. So like people would tell me like, oh, I got out of the dorms in like a month or a couple months.
No, exactly. I had people mad. They're like, you just need to ask them. I'm like,
it's not how it works.
We've been asking. This place is so many dorms and only this amount of people. Mm-hmm. They will never let us leave. Yeah. Probably after 4 years. They're going to be like, no.
It really just depends on if your base gets a lot of airmen in. Our base gets a lot of officers and civilian contractors. Yeah, exactly. So there's really not like a big rotation of airmen that come into our base. So, yeah.
Exactly. Micaiah Rome said, are we getting any more Halara hauls in the general future?
What is that?
It's a clothing brand that I did a review for. And hopefully, if they want to send me some free stuff, and I'll do it, or if I really like their stuff. All right. Kung Fu Kenny asked, do you plan on re-enlisting in the Air Force once your contract is up, or are you separating?
Oh, man. So my thing is I've been saying I'm going to extend, but that is if I get orders to overseas listing. They do offer for first-time airmen something called a BOP, which is a base of preference, but the only way to get that is if you do indeed re-enlist. Am I trying to do another 4 to 6 years? I only signed a 4-year. No, probably not. I'll do maybe like a max 2 more years, and that's just so I can go overseas and then try to get back to Cali. I'd go to San Antonio, maybe Texas, but that's it. Yeah.
Literally, like, same.
Yeah.
Same. I don't think I wouldn't probably do a basic preference unless it wasn't like an amazing thing where I'd re-enlist, but I don't want to re-enlist probably. You know, they say like take it enlistment by enlistment, but it's like, yeah, maybe just take it one enlistment by an extension.
We're on like our first contract. So just to imagine doing that again, of course it does, from what I heard, get easier when you do rank up. But at the same time, like, I don't know.
All I know is if I would stay here, like if they wouldn't let me leave, I wouldn't. Yeah, I'd get out. Definitely not. I'd get out. Yeah. Alize Williams said, "Is the dating?" Oh no, not
the dating. Oh man.
Quick editing, Dominga here. I have a word from our sponsor today, so we're gonna roll that real quick. Dossier produces classic high-end luxury scents at a fraction of the price, keeping the exact same high-end quality by cutting all the expenses and the infamous brand tax. These perfumes are extremely affordable. Any scent is $29, while designer scents can range from anywhere like $50 to $280 in retail. Comparing Dossier to their high-end counterparts, anything from YSL, Chanel, Dior, you're gonna get the same scents with a fraction of the cost. And don't worry, if the scent you got isn't fitting your style, they have free returns and exchanges forever. One thing I really like about this company is that they're always adding to their collection. If you order 3 or more, you get free shipping and 25% off. So if you guys have ideas, they actually take customer feedback and they'll implement that into their future releases. So if you guys have an idea, something you just made up, or maybe a high-end brand that they don't have yet, you can always message them and that could be a future release of perfume for them. Okay, now back to the video. Alize, what are you doing?
She has one thing on her mind.
Golly, she said, is the dating scene really as bad as people say, or is it exaggerated? Sorry for all the questions, but I love your content and just love to hear your point of cutoff but view. Thank you.
It is indeed as bad as they say it is. It's a little bit harder when you're in the dorms because you're sort of stuck to what's around you. Some people have found really good relationships, but just don't settle for anything. Don't come in like just, oh, I'm just gonna get in a relationship, whatever. But yeah, it is pretty bad. Half the people are married, or have kids, or something like that. Especially when you deploy, that is like a whole thing. A lot of people cheat. But yeah, just be careful, and be safe. That's all I can say.
We'll get into the deployment stuff too. Okay. Yeah, just come in with. Oh gosh, just come in with like goals other than relationships.
Yeah, definitely.
Honestly.
Yeah. If you're in the military to get in a relationship, don't do that. That's like the worst thing you could possibly do.
Don't do it. Just don't put yourself in that situation. Okay, moving on. Sandra India said, being in, do you truly feel like you are serving your country with impact, or do you feel like you could be doing what you are currently doing with greater impact within the general public? I think yes. I think being in the military, no matter your job, like on a grand scale, being in the military, you are definitely serving the public. But then putting on top of that, our job of mental health technicians is just another level because we're serving the people who are in our career field, and helping them with their mental state. And so by proxy, yes. And even if not, like even if you're doing services and they put this into your head, even when you're in basic training, like everything is a domino effect. And yes, you are helping your country, but
yeah, there will be times where you doubt whether or not like your purpose and all that. I've had definite doubts sometimes, especially when I was deployed. But yeah, you are serving your country at sometimes, but there's going to be doubts is all I'm going to say. But are you serving your country? Yes, you are serving the people as well. Can you do more in the public? Well, that just depends on you.
Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. It really depends on yourself, because there's a lot of things that you can't do while you're in,
right, that
you could help and serve your country when you're out. So that's true.
So yeah, that's the main sacrifice, is just not being allowed to, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to just go off and do something I want to do. A lot of times you could be stuck where you're at, and then you just have to sort of deal with it. You signed 4 years. This is it for you. So, yeah.
Speaking about that, Micaiah, next question said, plan on taking any trips this year or doing any photo shoots? Yes, for the photo shoots at some point. I have not been on it. But taking trips, kind of like Gangman was saying, you can't always take the trips that you want. I mean, you can, but you can't. No, elaborate.
What she is referring to is technically
no.
AWOL.
But no.
So if you leave your local area, all these bases have local areas. I think ours is like 8 hours. And as far as taking trips, yeah, just use your leave unless you just really like wild like that. But yeah, just take trips.
Take trips when you can.
Yeah.
Alize Williams, is there any AFSCs you came across that you're interested in other than public affairs? Because that was the first one that I wanted. I mean, contracting, because of how much money you get after.
They really don't be doing a lot too. I talk to a lot of contractors.
Really?
And a lot of times they just be teleworking.
When you were deployed, you talked to them, or here?
I talked to some here. And then I just talk to a lot of people that are contractors, and they just be like, yeah, just be signing papers and stuff like that. Of course, this is from the outside looking in, so don't take everything that I'm saying as a...
But imagine you get out and you go into contracting. That's like 6-figure job when you get out in civilian world. Same thing with like, not maintainers. Is it flight air controllers? I don't know.
But you can only do that for a certain amount of years, I think, to a certain age.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the people that work in airports.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can only be a certain amount of age before.
Is there any other AFSCs that you like found interesting?
Physical therapy actually seems pretty cool. If you're into fitness and all that stuff, it seems pretty cool. But
you need that crack coop.
Jobs that are not cool, security forces and services and maintainer jobs, they suffer.
I think services, depending on what kind of services, because
they do everything.
Some people, it like you either probably get like really crappy, or you're just handing towels out at the gym, which is like, if you just trying to get those benefits and you got a whole family and you're like, nah, I just want to send towels out. Like, seriously, I remember my brother was like, nah, do services. He's like, they got it easy. But he also knew he was getting out to do a whole bunch of stuff after. So he's like, I want my free time because I'm about to be studying and going to school. And so.
Finance also sucks from what I heard. Everybody just hates you.
Yeah. But I heard that's because people hate you in finance.
Yeah. People always say they don't do anything, but they actually do a lot. I know a lot of finance people. They do a lot of, it's like customer service stuff. No. You'll hear a lot of that. So just, if you're not really into that sort of customer service thing, don't do finance.
Are you planning on re-enlisting? Was it worth the 6 years and process to join?
They asked for 6 years. Have you signed for 6
years?
No.
I didn't sign to 6. She was saying, was it worth waiting 6 years to enlist?
Oh, that's a question for you.
I mean, I don't live with regrets, because I think everything that I did showed me that I can reach for my goals and like crazy goals, set them and stick to them. So because of that, I won't regret anything. Would I do it again if it took 6 years? If I had, like I said, I guess that's the same thing as no regret. So yeah, I guess I would. Is it worth it now? I'll tell you, this last year really made me question these last like year and a half, because it's been rough. But it's a lot of things that happen outside of the military that just made my military life not so great. Well, and leadership stuff too, that you guys know from a previous video, like not great leadership really makes your day good or bad, or your service good or bad. You know, do you think that the wait and trying to get in was worth it?
Could I do that again? Absolutely not. That was a battle, losing weight. Anything that's weight related is a battle. But is it worth it? Yeah. I feel like if I didn't join the military right now, I really wouldn't be on anything. I'd probably still be working like a retail job and not really do anything, probably in and out of college. So
that's true.
Yeah, definitely. Even though it's been a tough time, I have learned a lot of like lessons, and then of course confidence as well. I've definitely gained a lot of confidence since joining. So.
Was being in the Air Force what you thought it would be?
Definitely not. No.
I knew it wasn't going to be great, because I have family in the military that was like, it's not what you think. It's not fun. It's basically a 9-to-5 job plus all this extra stuff. So I knew it wasn't, but I didn't. You know what? I had somebody tell me, literally, they're like, when you hit your 2-year mark, you got to get depressed. And I was like, all right, you're just going crazy. Like, I was like, sure, like really brushed him off. Not me, a mental health tech. But I was like, okay. I was like, but is it really that bad? Like, you're really thinking? And now, like, we're at that 2-year mark. And I'm like, well, I mean, I'm hoping it can only go up from here. So
every single time I say that, I somehow find myself in a situation that's worse. But I mean, surviving those like I said, surviving those situations sort of makes you gain a little bit of confidence. Is it the way you want to gain confidence? No, I feel like you could still gain those confidences without experiencing things like leadership problems or anything else like that. So yeah, it's definitely a battle.
I know it is. It's a real battle. 2 years. I'm really hoping like it's just this base. It's just the bad leadership that we had, and it'll get better. Here's hoping. Gabby said, being that you waited so long, do you feel any regret? No regret, but would I have done some things differently? Or probably. Like looking back, certain things I would have done differently. The whole thing, probably not. If you do stay in, do you plan on retraining into another field?
This job isn't that bad. Like it's just it depends on where you're at. You're gonna be doing a lot or a little. So when I was deployed and I tell people that I was a Fort Charlie, which is mental health technician, they'd be like, oh, you weren't doing anything. You weren't doing this, that, the third. I have a friend that ain't doing anything. And even some other Fort Charlies would be like, yeah, I'm really not doing anything. Mm-hmm. It really just depends on where you are stationed. And that's just for every job worldwide is you're either doing a whole lot of or a whole little. So it's kind of like a dice roll. You either frolicking in the fields or you're crying in the fields. So
miss the 2023 productivity updates. They kept me motivated. Y'all, I just sorry that I didn't keep it up. I have so many new things coming that I want to try like this going on. So thanks for rocking with me when you rock with me, because honestly my stuff is like all over the place, and because there's so many things, so little time, and I like to try so many different things. But I appreciate y'all who are rocking with me this far. Are you ready to leave the Air Force to join on the fun at home? Are you halfway in? Are you in your current contract? Yeah, we're 2 years in. Fun at home. I don't know. My sister just had a baby, if y'all follow me on Instagram. So they definitely have a fun, okay? What's your MOS? Girl, this Air Force. We call them AFSCs, and ours is, you want to tell them what our...
Fort Charlie.
Yeah. Fort Charlie.
0x1 or whatever.
0x1.
Or technically, we're still 3rd level, aren't we?
No, we're 5th level.
We're 5th level now?
Well, I am.
No, I'm not. They had to freeze my training records while I was deployed.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not even a 5th level yet.
How you gonna get BTZ?
Look, that is nothing I can be in control of.
Oh, that stinks.
I've been promptly like rushing the whole thing, but you can only do as much as people above you will let you, unfortunately.
That kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, do you think it's worth joining the Air Force at 35? Says Faith M. Stace.
Depends. Like, you're gonna be living in the dorm still at 35, so think of that. Unless you have children or are married, then you'll be living off base. I mean, if you have any sort of college, I would look into commissioning. But I mean, if you're just like doing retail stuff and like not really doing anything, then yeah, I mean that's a career that you could start, and then 20 years down the line you could retire at like 55. So
I tell this to everybody, but really do your research. Don't just take the recruiter's word for it. Watch a whole bunch of YouTube videos, go on Reddit, look up, like really do your research. And if this will benefit your life, then yes, do it. But don't just do it on a whim. I'm hoping not a lot of people do that.
That's what I do.
Well,
no regrets though. No regrets.
But you're younger too. So yeah. I'm saying if this person 35 has a family, I had people in my tech school who were 39 was like the oldest, and she was doing great. But at that point you really got to think, is this going to benefit you? Is your life going to improve by joining? And yeah, like he said, if you have school like your bachelor's, I would really try to commission. You can try to go enlisted to officer. That's a great route too, but if you have it, try to go officer, I think. Are you going to re-enlist? Okay. What do you think? That was from 3 Girls Sand Sailor. stands as sailor, something like that. MK Lene says, do you think that the military creates healthy habits or not so healthy habits? No.
I would say yes and no. You will definitely see, like, if you are you use alcohol, that will definitely 100%, not for everybody, but that does go up a lot for people that are in the military. They do tend to drink a lot more. For me, like, I get food poison a lot. I was actually food poisoned last night, and I've been dealing with that all today. But as far as, like, healthy habits, like, I feel like my fitness is a lot better than it was. I wake up a lot earlier, which that could be a bad thing or a good thing, depending on the person. I don't know. It's just up to the person, honestly.
But does the Air Force promote or create healthy habits?
Promote or create healthy habits? Yeah, it promotes healthy habits. Well, does it create them for you though?
Right.
Depending on where you are.
Does it promote them?
What do you mean by that?
Like does it do they promote healthy habits? So do they encourage healthy habits, or is it structured in a way where you are going to have healthy habits away from yourself? So like you obviously, like, we can wake up earlier and do all that stuff, but does the military promote it? Like, are they pushing stuff so you'll have it easier to have those healthy habits?
They encourage healthy habits, but in a lot of places they don't actually give you the space or the material or supplies to definitely engage in a lot of healthy habits. So
yeah, that's where I took this question in my head, because I was like, yes, like, obviously it's the military, there's gyms right there and everything, and so we have PT, but when you really look at it at a grander scale, they're not promoting it in a way that is really for fitness and health. Like, the food that they serve at the DFAC is not healthy. Like, they can keep saying that you can have a salad from a salad bar every day, and that's what you can have, but everything else is, like, not good. The PT is once a week, and it's barely. And then the PT days that we do have, they take them away for punishment. So
that is all, of course, where you're at. There's some jobs that don't even have, like, PT days. So.
Yeah.
We're speaking of medical right now, so if you're not medical, you'll be like,
yeah, and if you're Army, then obviously that's something, like, we don't ruck. I think somebody was like, oh, you guys have to ruck, though. I'm like, we literally have a 9-to-5 job. So it's on you. So that's why I took it. I don't think they promote it as much as probably other branches, but obviously it's required or encouraged or something like that. What do you think keeps people in the military?
Their situation. I feel like that keeps people in the military. The good old honeypot they offer you, where they're like, hey, we'll put you wherever you want if you sign a 4 or 6 more years. And a lot of people take that. It just really depends on the person's situation. Yeah, it really just depends on their situation. I feel like that's what keeps people in.
I think what keeps people in is, one, people not having a plan to get out. Like, they join, but then they never think about what they're going to do to set themselves up for the outside world. And so when that time comes, which, like, 2 years, like, went by so quick in my head. So, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many things that you can basically tell yourself, like, there's so many things that I didn't get to do that I thought I would. And if you don't have a plan at all, by the time that re-enlistment time comes up, you're gonna be like, well, I have to re-enlist because I didn't set myself up. I'm gonna be living off whatever the VA gives me when I get out. I think that, and I think they thrive on that, the military, because you can do school and everything, but you got to have time. Then there's other things, like, you got to volunteer, you got to try the BTZ, you got to do all this X, Y, and Z stuff. So definitely have a plan. How long do you have to live in the dorms? We've been asking ourselves.
Yeah, already told you. It just depends on your base, but for most places it is standard 3 years as a senior airman. And what I mean by that is, like, 3 years into your contract and you have to be a senior airman. Yeah.
Angelica, do you want to be stationed overseas?
I think that, yeah.
I hear traveling is cheap once you're there. Yep. Because it's so small. Yeah. If you could cross-train, what would be your top 3 jobs? Public affairs, contracting, services. No. And I don't know. Maybe finance. Only because it's like, I'm thinking of when I get out. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. You? Top three.
Physical therapy, contracting, and honestly, that's really it. Like I don't
And
actually.
Loadmaster.
I generally do. Loadmaster is pretty good. They
Remember
travel
that?
everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. I just remember everybody talking about, I gotta be a Loadmaster when I get in. I'm like, Loadmaster. That's what everybody talks about before you get in. Is Loadmaster. Yeah. Okay. That was all the questions. Really quick. Tell you deployed. Tell them a good overview of your deployment.
So I deployed not for my job. So there's taskings that you will get as an airman or even as an NCO to where you'll get tasked for something that's not your job. So for example, a lot of medical people go to COVID ops, which is just you go to like DC or New Jersey or something like that, and you just do like COVID testings and all that stuff. Some people also were tasked to work with the refugees during that whole Middle Eastern thing that was going on. And that was a rough time for a lot of people. So a lot of people went to like New Mexico, New Jersey, like I said, and other places. I went to the Middle East I went to Qatar specifically for force protection, which it sounds a lot cooler than what it actually is. Pretty much what you're doing is like a dumbed down version of security forces where you're just like escorting OCNs, which is just other country nationals, to their work sites. You're watching them work. So a lot of the times, like I was just stuck in the heat watching people work. During that time, it was like a lot of 12 hours, 6 days a week. So you only get like 1 day off. But that's not for every job. So actually what I did notice, because I did talk to a lot of people when I was in Qatar, a lot of people were having it a lot easier with their normal job while deployed than they were stateside. So you won't have as much to do, depending, of course, on your job. And a lot of people are only working like 5 days a week over there in Qatar, 9 hours or 8 hours a day. Like it's because they just changed it to where you're not required to be assigned 12 hours, and they are trying to change it to where deployments are only 4.5 months. So by the time I was leaving, by the time I was leaving, people were only deployed for 4.5 months. I did my full 6 months.
Are they like Qatar. Everything's changing to 4 months, or
no, not everything. So for example, we have someone that we work with. He's deploying for 6. For 6. Yeah.
So it just it's like a short tour or a standard long like that.
That's just what they're trying to do. They're trying to make deployments like 4.5 months, but the difference is that you can deploy a lot more often. So, for example, like, you know how I was deployed for 6 months, I technically really can't deploy for like another year. So I think they're trying to take away that like year in between, and then just be like, okay, you deploy for 4.5 months, and a couple months later you can deploy again for like another 4.5 months.
And how was the deployment? How did you like it?
There's a lot of suck as a dorm airman. If you go there, like a lot of people will be like, oh, you're making a whole bunch of money. I really wasn't making a lot of money because I wasn't making that extra BAS and BAH. I think I was making like an extra $200 per paycheck. So with the hours that I was working, I was making actually underneath the federal government limit for deployment.
It was like 6 or something?
Like $6.59 I was making. I calculated it.
That's how much we make. Well, no, because you were working more hours. Like 12-hour days?
And quote unquote, like working. What it really was me just sitting there watching people, or me sitting in a vehicle with OCNs and all that. Now
somebody's going to say, well, I'll take that. I'll just sit down and take it.
If that's how you live in. So here's the thing for force protection, it wasn't, not every place is doing 12 hours. And then once I left, they started changing it to like, you're really only working like half that, 4 hours. Some people only work like 2 hours. Like I know we had
who?
A lot of people that were deployed over to Saudi Arabia were only working like 2 hours. When they got to our like little section or whatever, they're like what is this? What is this? What is happening right now?
How did they only work 2 hours? Were they like doing force protection?
Yeah, they're doing force protection.
So the people that they were watching, or they like did shifts to watch?
They did shifts. So when I was doing, they didn't. I guess people that were in charge didn't really understand how shifts work. So instead of like splitting it up. What they would do is they would put, like, for instance, me and Harris on one site for 12 hours both, instead of splitting it up, where we only need one escort. So we could do like half. We could honestly work 6 hours each, but instead what they'd do is they'd put us both there and make us work 12s. And then what they would do is they'll keep putting people. So you'd have like 5+ people at a site with only like one person to watch, and it's just like, what is this? But,
oh my gosh.
The food on base kind of sucks when you're deployed. Not even kind of, like, it really sucks. But that's just military food. But the positives, I feel like when you're overseas, and this doesn't just go with deployments, this goes also with short tours or even long tours overseas. There's definitely a togetherness with other people. Like even on like my one off day or like after work, there's always something going on. Like people were outside partying. There's always like events, like DJs. Even the base would throw events, and people were always outside on the gym. It's not like that stateside, and that goes for wherever you're stationed at. Like you're not gonna find that sort of like things is bumping around. That
camaraderie and stuff. There's definitely not that here.
And that's for everywhere. I was asking people. I was like, is this like where it is where you're stationed? They're like, nah. This is just like an overseas thing. I
feel like too, like when you get here, like you're in your like people are in their homes, their spaces, they have their games, their video games, their whatever they do inside. But then when you're out there, you're like forced to go out, like almost forced to go out and play with your friends.
Yeah, some people
which is fun, but
some people don't. Some people do stay in their dorms and they get sad.
Out there or in here?
Out there. So out there are some people overseas that just don't do anything. But that's just them. They prefer to like play video games or something like that. But definitely, if you do deploy or go overseas, go outside, experience the world. For those of you guys like that date, you'll definitely date. Is it going to be a fun time? Probably not. It's probably not going to be a fun time, but things will happen. Just definitely.
Are the rumors true for deployment of what you witnessed about cheating and stuff like that?
So I thought that was going to be an over-exaggeration. No, it wasn't an over-exaggeration. If anything, it was an under-exaggeration. Like people get off the planes and just go crazy. There are some loyal people. Shout out to the loyal ones out there that don't do that stuff. But a lot of people do be cheating on their spouses when they're out there on deployment. And they be like, went on deployment. Just like, it's like, no, it's a marriage. You have kids. Why are you on this type of time right now? You're only here for like 6 months. Like, is it really that? Are you really that down bad? And it's not even like they wait till like 5 months in. They do it like 1 week or 2 weeks in. I'm just like, they're already plotting on the plane.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They calling like, so who's going to be there this time? Oh, Julie? Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah. That's horrible.
So yeah, food's kind of rough. Living situation for younger airmen. Once you become like an NCO and above, you will eventually get your own room. But it's kind of like for as an airman, you do like live with multiple people. When I got there, I had like 3-4 people in a room. Eventually my roommates did leave and I was just by myself for like a good month. But yeah, that's sort of living styles. Going off base, only some deployed settings have it. So like Qatar is really not like a dangerous area. So I was allowed to go off base and experience Doha. So if you go to somewhere and they let you go off base, do it. It was probably the best times, like just to see the world and all that stuff, to see different cultures.
Yeah,
it's a fun time.
One of our sergeants was showing us all like the where did y'all go? Like their hotels and stuff with like resorts and everything, and there was like right by the ocean. And
you'd open up the little screen door and there's the ocean, or I'd be all the way up at the very top and just can see the whole world. It feels like, and it was very cheap. It was like $100-something for a room for a night. Only some places in some squadrons let you actually go off and stay off overnight. Mine fortunately I was allowed to. So I was able to, but it also it's definitely a place where you can get in trouble. So just don't. A lot of people get in trouble. So just, you can still have fun without getting in trouble, and don't get peer pressure. People are going to try to peer pressure you into doing things like sneaking off base and all that stuff. Right. When you get caught, that's it. People think like when you're deployed, like cheating and breaking the rules and all this doesn't follow you back home. It really does. And then you realize like, oh damn, I messed up everything I had going for me.
Dang.
Just for like a day of fun. So
right. You can mess it all up for one day of deployment.
Yeah, it's true.
Give them one piece of advice for deployment. Okay. And then we'll both close up.
Make friends, talk to people. That's the best thing to do on deployment. Just that's what I did, because when you're stateside you don't really have that. When I was deployed, like I'd always see someone I knew and you'd be like, hey, what's up? You don't really know how much that helps when you're overseas, because you're far away from everybody on a different time zone. So you make like a sort of like friends and family out there. There's gonna be drama, of course, but like you can, it's not that hard to stay out of drama. It's just but yeah, just make friends. That's all I could say.
That's it. Make friends. I'm gonna deploy me.
Yeah, you have connections. Like I know people from every base at this point. I know.
See, that's what I thought it would be more of, I guess, like being in. Do you want them to know your socials and everything?
What do you mean, like my social security number? Yeah, it is 7.
Your bank account, your routing number and stuff you can down there, just in case.
You could put all that in.
This is also a financial audit.
Oh no, this is gonna be terrible. Why are you spending
That's what I do.
$700?
Exactly. You want me to put them in the description?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so Gangman's socials will be down in the description box below. Social security, bank routing number, account number.
Steal it
all of that. DOD, whatever you need. That'll be down in the description box. And yeah, so that is 2 years in. So March 23rd of 2021, we came in.
Holy crap.
And it is now March. Well, it's a couple days after, but it was March 23rd of 2022. Wait, it's 2023. It's 2023. Just kidding. Yeah. Woo! All right, so let me know if you guys want him back on the show. Let me know if you like this podcast style.
I hate him. Get him out of here.
Get him out.
Oh,
my God. Yeah. And we will see you guys in the next thing. We'll be more awake, but we got to go to Kroger. We're going to Kroger. For my Cali people, that's basically Ralph's.
I don't know.
What is Kroger like for them back home?
I don't know. For Northern California people, it's like a Raley's, like a grocery store. Just think about Kroger. Out of all the grocery stores I've been to, has the best fruit. And I will put that out there. I was put on when I was out here. Yeah. And it's kind of like in Texas, an HEB or something like that.
For Southern, I don't know, Stater Brothers, Food for Less, I don't know. Something like that. But yeah, we finna head out. Thanks for coming in. We'll see you guys in the next video. Or I will. Probably not him.
All right, cue the live game.